the idea of true self. So if you think your true self is...
Could be anything. Could be what my true self is. I just say what I think and I mean what I say. And in the words of Dr. Phil, how's that working out for you? Or, well, my true self is I don't want to be out front. I want to lean back. I want to be behind the scenes. You know, what else could you have been if you came out from behind the curtain occasionally?
Well, and I think that brings up a point that we haven't touched on is, you know, how much of this idea of true self is actually also a limitation. So if we are thinking about ourselves in terms of like this one true self, then that's going to put constraints on the possibilities for the future.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And what are you sacrificing for that?
Yeah, tell your Claire story.
Oh, well, it was back with the feeling good about putting on. So Clara was my roommate. Hello, Clara. And we had an open closet policy. And so, you know,
yeah, sure.
We wanted to borrow each other's clothes. We didn't ask for permission. If it was hanging, it was available. And so there was one day where I went to go get my biker leather jacket and go to school, and it was gone. And I just assumed Claire had it, and I didn't really put too much on it. And so anyway, I'm watching some TV, and she comes in later on in the day after her classes, and she takes my jacket. And Claire is more stylish. She cares more about style. She definitely encouraged me to up my game in terms of fashion.
Yeah, sure.
Which I know is surprising because I'm really utilitarian. But but she comes in and she has my leather jacket on, which she hasn't exactly liked this whole time. But she goes over and she throws it down and she goes, "That is a power jacket. And now I understand." And it's true. You put on that leather biker jacket and, there are things about that group that they're easy to love. Really, they take a lot of responsibility for themselves.
Are you talking about bikers?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. They take a lot of responsibility for themselves. They expect respect, but
we're
they're
not
generally giving it.
Nerds, we're not talking about e-bikes here.
No, we're not. We're talking about motorcyclists. But in that, there's a lot of power in sort of how they operate, and that jacket becomes a symbol of that. And you put it on and you do feel powerful.
Yeah.
Now, they're like every other group because it's a huge group of people. They got all sorts of different people there. Some of them not so great, some of them wonderful. But the thing that unifies is this idea of respect. Give respect. If you don't get it, you're gonna have a reaction. Mm-hmm. You're gonna claim respect if it's not given.
Sure. Wow.
And in that, there's this sense of individualism, freedom, and power, and that all goes down into that jacket. And that's what Claire was experiencing. So it's it's putting on something that connects to you in a way that is true. It just may not be the dominant version of you.
Time.
Yeah.
To be a good manager, you have to be able to do a lot of stuff. You have to be sometimes in the lead, sometimes from behind. And that is part of the imperfectible and endless challenge.
And it's fun when you get something wonderful out of your people.
Yeah.
Or when you're able to help people be something that they didn't see they were.
Yeah. The tragedy of believing that you can be authentic is that by the time you've put a few years into life, you've learned a few things. And those things you've learned won't come to you as quickly as the way you were born with your instincts. So the first thing in a situation is what your instincts say you should do, what your traits suggest. And then after half a second, we can say, well, wait a minute. I know I usually leap first here, but over the years I've learned to look and then leap. If you glom onto a theory like authentic leadership, it suggests that I can go with my leap and not the look, because the leap is what feels right. I wish it was that simple, but it's not. We spend a lot of our time in coaching gently reorienting people to, just because you feel that way, or just because you're sick of the fact that the problems are complicated that you're facing, doesn't mean that you can stop thinking about them. And people will get frustrated and they'll say, well, this is what I want to do. Like, this is what feels right. And a lot of times it's instructive because it's the wrong thing to do. And it's instructive because they've been thinking, they've been getting increasingly frustrated with how complicated the situation is. And I just want to do this. Mm-hmm. And that would make me feel good and that would feel authentic. Why can't I do that? Well, because the consequences are going to be terrible. If you just fire this person, if you just quit, if you just tell that person, don't ever talk to me like that again. Well, that's your boss. How's that going to work?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's also a difference between the things that are within your internal realm of control versus the environment. Because what we see a lot in coaching is, a frustration with the situation not being what the person wants it to be. Like, I just want, like, they're trying to basically force their will upon the situation. The situation isn't bending to it.
Yeah.
And in that, you may not be looking for your true self, but you may be looking for the truth of the situation. Because, like, you have an expectation in that moment that the external environment's telling you it's not very realistic.
Yep. And that sounds quasi-authentic. That's what we should encourage people to be. Quasi-authentic.
I like it. Yeah. I like that term.
Quasi-authentic.
Go forth and be quasi-authentic.
Go forth and be about, I don't know, 60% of yourself.